So I was asked to join the CAPM project, Cycle Assessment Procedure for Eco-Materials, an Interreg-funded project to bring the UK perspective to the project. You can see that there's 10 partners across 5 countries, parts of Germany, parts of France, and we have a plan to develop a methodology, evaluate materials, to classify them and then disseminate and then demonstrate them by actually building some buildings using those materials, with the view that those buildings will become training centres and visitors centres for the local community of professionals and builders. 10 partners, 5 countries, 4 years, €8 million. So it's quite a big project, very exciting project, I have to say. This is an illustration from our brochure, gives you some contact details, and the project itself. The intention is to try and increase the manufacture, distribution and use of eco-materials in the Northwest Europe building industry. And in order to do that, we are trying to make easy access to data, to be able to compare the different component properties, to better demonstrate eco-material benefits, and to develop the supply chains into the 5 countries. So the local companies, we are trying to help them to get into the other 4 countries. And the key hurdle to all of this is defining, evaluating and promoting the eco-materials. So in order to do that, we've managed to produce a number of tools along the way. A definition of eco-materials, a jargon buster. I'm very keen on jargon busters. They are absolutely critical to help everybody understand the language that we are prone to use to make ourselves look a bit more intelligent than the rest and unfortunately separate ourselves in the process. But in addition to the jargon buster, then we have to have the translator, because there are four languages within our project. And then for those people who are doing the LCAs, unit translators, because it's, there are lots of little difficulties. Manufacturers' literature always has the wrong piece of information. It's always in the wrong unit. So we have developed the tools. And then the life cycle assessment methodology itself, calling it the CAPM method. And just to give you an idea, the definitions are more than just a simple one-liner. We're trying to explain what we're talking about in terms of a word like renewable, give some examples, material applications in building use, any reservations about what materials might be used in a particular situation. If there are good and bad properties, we want people to know about it. Reservations, exceptions and exclusions, advantages, etc. And then in 4 languages. And we have, this is the jargon buster using posh words, so definitions rather than jargon busting. And we've found numerous definitions from a whole variety of different companies, organisations, and so we've put these into, only in English unfortunately, but then the translator might help you if you need the translation. And we have got an Excel spreadsheet which is building the number of terms that are regularly in use in an environmental construction process, and we're building up the different translations. But to make it really easy for the end users, you'll see in the words to search box towards the right hand side, type in a word and you'll get all 4 languages pop up in the box next door. And along the way, gathering information from manufacturers' literature, inevitably the information's in the wrong format. So type in the green box on the left-hand side and you get all of the variety of outputs immediately. So it's very easy to get the information that you need in order to carry out your LCAs. Equally for energy. And another little tool along the way, the volumes and density and quantity of timber. It comes in a whole variety of sizes. Just type in the quantity, type in the density from the table below for all of the species that we are aware of, and you'll get your information. Another little trick along the way, not carried out by CAPM, but supporting our activity, is a website called toxlist.com, I think it is, where currently there are 8,000 products, 8,000 materials are identified which have toxic characteristics. A very useful tool. So the CAPM database, unfortunately only 100 eco and conventional construction materials. We'd love to have had more, but the funding only takes us so far. And we're looking at, in official terms, components, but we're talking about products and materials. And then for each of those, unique combination of information, product technical information, social information, which is quite difficult to kind of get to the bottom of, but we are making progress on that front. Environmental, end-of-life solutions. Now, these are only predictions. They're not an LCA for end-of-life, because that would take another CAPM project. It's just an enormous process. And then the clever piece is the cradle to gate is part of the standard process, the life cycle assessment, but then we are taking the next stage further to give an LCA to the site of your construction project, all part of the GUI. And we're currently beginning to look at the generic materials, so it's concrete, timber, steel, mortar, and a whole variety of recipes of those. And then regionalised LCA for each of those materials so that we can actually have an appropriate LCA for each of the 5 countries involved in the project. Now, the database is a collection of information from a variety of sources. Each of the partners have their own databases, some which have LCA data, some don't. And we're currently in the middle of the development of the graphic user interface to the database, which is a very exciting part of the process, 4-month project. PRE Consulting, the developers SEMA Pro and the host of EcoInvent LCA database, they are making recommendations on the development and the collection of the data so that we get the right kind of data in the right format, and refining the CAPM method to make sure that it is current with current legislation, current standards. And they are responsible for the design of the graphic user interface, and they partner with Delta Green TC in developing the software side of the tool. So the intention is that the website now, the database has its search engine for the components, and for the end users, the important part, as far as I'm concerned as an architect, is that we are talking about the appropriate use of materials in building applications. It's very easy to pick a material with a low LCA, but you can use it in the wrong place. And the problem that I have is that LCA and EPD are being chosen before function. And I'm very worried about that development. Once we've found the appropriate materials for a particular application, you can then compare their properties side by side. And then by adding your site address or site postcode, you will then get your gate to site LCA, all done very simply through the website. And the end result for the end user is project data sheets, which will have the gate to site LCA automatically pasted in them. So this is a quick spin around the website. It's in development, and so I've hidden the URL. Don't go looking for it. And so it's a case of just demonstrating what we're hoping to be able to do. Now here you'll see demonstration data rather than product data. Currently 320 items in there, and as you start to make searches, the number of items will start to shrink. And you'll see that once you've made a selection, you can then choose to compare those materials and then just press the compare button, and you'll get all of those 3 side by side. If you then, and the lovely thing about this is that you have this opportunity to interact with the data and see more or less of the information to suit what you're wanting to find out. And then add even more information, scroll down the page and add a few more categories, and it all happens dynamically, but it's actually very exciting because it grows on the screen, which is rather fun, especially for the boys. And then the transport thing, it's just a case of put the various locations of the source and the site, press the button, you get the data out, and then that will automatically go into the product data sheet at the end of the process. Now, there's ways of actually refining your searches so that you can start to look for specific components, specific parts of building types, and then make a more refined search, make a more refined comparison, and you can compare a considerable number of products all at the same time on screen to choose. So some of the things that are under development, outputs to the product data sheet. Having put your postcode in, then the product data sheet will automatically get the life cycle assessment embedded in it, and then it will come out as a PDF. So that's quite a nice little solution. And one of the exciting things that I'm getting excited about is the front end of the database might look like this in due course. And you'll actually go looking for the products graphically, which is ideal for an architect because we can't read, and go straight to the part of the database that is connected with the part of the diagram. And that's the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Merci.